are live. Welcome everyone to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 210. And today I have the
Ooh-wee.
absolute honor of being joined by the pro wrestling, hip hopping, globe trotting, throwback and live action music video, usually accompanied by the boom box. We got Buffa
Hey,
Ayo.
yo. Oh, we here.
What's going
Finally.
on, brother? What's going on? Good evening. I
It's
should say better yet,
years in
good
the making.
morning for you. So good morning.
Oh, yes, sir.
That's
Thank
so,
you. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good night. Good evening.
uh,
Anywhere in the world you are. Yeah.
but
It's
there we
morning
go.
time
No.
somewhere.
Hey, there you go. But no, thank you again for doing this. We definitely
No
finally were able
problem,
to
bro.
make this work and finally be here
Yes,
as
sir.
it's been a long time coming, like we were discussing before we got on
Ooh.
live here. But no, it's been a
Yeah.
long time coming. I'm glad to have you on. But before I have all the questions I have to ask
Okay.
you this. The question I ask everyone that comes on. You heard the
All
name of the
right.
show. It's called Respect the Craft.
Yes.
So for you, when you hear that term though, the craft, what does that mean to you?
To me, that means the industry, the job. Man. My passion, my love, my everything. So to respect that, that means putting in the work, doing your research on your craft, not just coming in and just picking it up as you go. No, no, no. You have to study this, do your homework. If this is your craft, you want to be the best at it and you want to give back to it as well. So don't just think about yourself. This isn't a selfish business. You know, we wouldn't be where we are today if it was for someone helping us out. So always give back, but to the right people, because I've been through a lot of, so yeah, we'll get into
Definitely.
that.
Definitely so, definitely so. But before we get into all things as well, I do want to talk about this. Usually, I know everyone likes to
Yes.
ask, what was it that made you fall in love with it? What made you become a fan of it? But I like to flip it. I like to ask this question
All
better.
right.
That is, what was it that finally made you decide, not only do I love this, I need to get involved. I need to step into that squared circle and just jump straight forward into it.
Well, before pro wrestling was my love, my first love was acting.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to be an actor. I was into Van Damme, just like a lot of, people my age, Van Damme, Bruce Lee, or the Kung Fu action movies. So that was like a goal I had for myself at that age. And I wasn't a wrestling fan. I thought wrestling was corny.
Ooh,
I
well then.
didn't
Okay.
watch it at all. I would go to like the toy stores. I see the, Hasbro figures. I'm like, why these action figures look like gorillas? Like it looks corny. You know what I mean?
Especially for the ones back in the
Like,
day. It makes sense. Like it's all
yeah, I'm like, I was into G.I. Joe, X-Men and
gotcha.
all that comics. I'm like, nah, I ain't into wrestling. But I gave wrestling a try one time, actually like sat through a match, and ever since then I was like, yo, I gotta do this because this is everything that I loved. A little bit of, acting,
Yeah.
fighting, and being a fan of like Van Damme, he probably came out with maybe two movies a year. And I'm looking at wrestling, I'm like, yo, this is on every single, like at that time it was like twice a week. And you seeing like the same guy multiple times a week. And I'm like, yo, these dudes have these characters, like the characters in the comic books. These guys all jacked, they can flip, they can fight. I'm like, yo, this is better than acting. I want to do this. I was like, hey man, I could be on TV a few times a week. People ain't gotta wait a year to see me. I'm like, yo, this is it.
There
Ever
you go.
since then,
So
I was hooked.
it was
Yeah.
that hook. So then, so you get that moment, like you know what? Now I got to do this. How do we get to you finding where to make that journey happen?
Mm, magazines,
Okay.
PWI. Ah man, so many magazines back then, man. I would, of course, sometimes steal the magazines, sometimes pay for them. But I would like be reading the magazines and I would see these rankings of these different promotions. At the time, I didn't know what they were. I just knew WWE, WCW. Like WWE was the first thing that I got into. I would like see like WCW VHS tapes in the video store, but I would never watch it. Then I started to watch them. Like, oh wow, it's more than one place for wrestling. So when I'm getting the magazines, I'm reading the rankings, I'm seeing like the profiles of these different indie wrestlers. I'm like, what the hell? I'm tripping out. I thought it was just WWE.
Yeah.
So after doing more research, reading the magazines and stuff like that, I was like, oh wow, there's actually schools that teach this. I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe you called up like WWE and
It's like
got
that's it.
into
It's just
like,
like we go through the
yeah,
main connect.
hey, why not? But
Okay.
but after I started reading the magazines and I'm seeing like listings for different wrestling schools and stuff like that, I called Johnny Rods
Got you.
because that was like one of the first schools that I found out about. At the time, I was maybe 15. So he was like, need to be 18. I'm like, oh man, like damn, the hell am I gonna do? How am I gonna get into wrestling now? So shout out to my boy Devious. He's the first one that gave my brother and I a shot because he was already training at the time. So when we met him, he's the one who brought us to the doghouse
Got you.
in Brooklyn. Yeah. But we started at a place called Jerome's Gym, Jerome's Boxing Gym in the Bronx.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like a famous gym in the Bronx. Like they shot a lot of TV shows and movies there. So we started there first. He brought us there because he had his little company.
Okay.
So we started there at first before we went to the doghouse.
Yeah.
But we got kicked out of the boxing gym. Not because anything we did, you know. The owner would charge maybe $5 a head. So we would go there, put on our little matches. But we was the only ones that was allowed. So then on the week that we worked there, some other guys came and somehow they broke the ring, broke the boxing ring. I don't understand how they did that.
Yeah.
So owner
That
was
was
like,
it.
nah,
That
you're
was it.
done. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's when Devious took us to the doghouse. I think the first time I went it was like, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking it's 99
Okay.
or
Okay.
2000. We just went and checked out the show. First time we went, it was closed. We were
Okay.
searching all over the place for this fucking doghouse. I'm like, I would hear so much about it at school
Yeah.
from my friends. Say, yeah, it's a real wrestling ring, blah, blah, blah. I was like hyped. I was like, yo, let's go today. But nobody wanted to go because they didn't really know where it was because it was at a different location first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
it moved.
Yep.
So first time we went, is a bunch of us. We walking around for like, probably walk like 50 blocks trying to find this place just to get there, find out it's closed. So I think the following week we went and we was there like watching as fans and stuff. So say maybe a few weeks after that, that's when we started doing like our little wrestling shows there.
Got you. Oh,
So
there you
that's how
go.
it all started. Yeah.
Got you. No, it's a perfect start, especially with this, because that's why I was like, I was waiting for the name Doghouse to get thrown because I knew like how much that history brings, especially with this, like, because that's how I first got to see you was through JAP. Was with All
Yeah,
Money's
yeah.
Legal. So,
Hmm.
because I'm very close with Mac and all those guys. So when I was like,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for when he's
shout
gonna
out,
throw
shout out to
Doghouse.
Mac. Shout out to Mac.
Yeah. So I was like,
Shout
I was
out to
waiting for the
Mac.
doghouse and all that. There we go. We got Richie in
Yeah.
the chat. Hey yo. There you go. There you go.
Hey yo.
Yo, shout out
Ho.
to Richie.
Yeah,
But
Rich.
so we get that now. You find the
Hmm.
doghouse. You find that we
Yeah.
start building that, and then let's start finding the early stages of your persona, finding who you are in the ring. How do we get there? Because
Oh man.
I can imagine that
That.
that first it's like, okay, cool. This is cool. This is like it's something out of a movie. But now it's like, wait, now I
Yeah.
gotta be some. Now I gotta be.
Yeah, you
It,
gotta create
yeah,
your character. Oh man, I started out as a huge fan of 1, 2, 3 Kid.
got you.
So I would say I was a mix of 1, 2, 3 Kid and every other wrestler I was a fan of at that time. I used to wear red tights. I'm 140 pounds wearing wrestling tights because I wanted to look like a pro wrestler.
Gotcha.
I was over here buying my kick pads from High Spots when they first opened up and started selling wrestling gear. So
Yeah.
I looked the part,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, I didn't know who the hell I was. I don't know what I was trying to be. Like
Yeah.
really no direction. I was doing whatever I liked, whatever I thought was cool. I guess it got me kind of noticed, but man, looking back, I'm like, oh, this whole time because I wanted to be an actor, so I knew like in wrestling, these different gimmicks and characters, it's not really the person. So I always wanted to act. Always wanted to be something that wasn't true to me, you
Okay.
know, just to, show that I could do different characters and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because I like a lot of these people, they don't know me personally, so how are they really gonna connect? That was just my thinking at the time. So I say maybe probably a year later, my brother and I started to team up. Now that was always our plan, anyways, but we wanted to like feud with each other first, then eventually team up
Got you. Okay. So
because
it's
it makes
again
the
getting
most
to
sense,
yeah, getting to have a little bit of standoutish, get to do something a little different, and then the wheels
Yeah.
start turning. So
Hmm.
from there, how do we get to again to what a lot of people know, a lot of people remember getting to see gear like this?
Yeah.
How do we get to the days of finding
Oh
who
man.
is all money's legal? How do we get there?
Who? Well, this is the next stage.
Yeah.
So when me and my brother start teaming up, he came up with the name "All Money Is Legal." I hated that name.
Really?
Hated it. Yes.
Okay.
I did not like it. I was like, huh? It's too long. What the, huh? I get the meaning, but because I'm doing something completely different.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this: before the switch to All Money Is Legal,
Yeah.
I wrestled as Blood Money. That
Okay.
was my name at first, Blood Money. I did
Yeah.
that for maybe like 2 shows
Got you.
to transition into like All Money Is Legal. So I dropped the Blood Money. Then when we became a team, I was like, oh man, I'm always thinking creatively, like, all right, how our gear is gonna look. Already got the name, got the master gear. So I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just keep the name. Then I was like, what are we representing? All right, products of our environment at that time. All right, cool. For gear, I'm like, I don't know. Because I was still like wearing like tights.
Yeah.
Like my brother was doing like the what the hell was he wearing? He was wearing like green pants with the money on it and stuff like that. I didn't transition into that look yet. So I was like, nah, we need a legit look. Something that's gonna set us apart from everybody else. Like once they see this gear, they're gonna know it's us. So I go to Southern Boulevard
Okay.
because back in New York, I live in Hunts Point.
Got
So
you.
I go to
Yeah.
Southern Boulevard. I go to the Bully and I'm looking around for gear in different stores. So I'm like, it's got to be streetwear. So I go to this one store and I see like these overalls, these red overalls. But it wasn't like regular overalls. It was kind of like a fire suit. It has the suspenders with the
Ah. Okay.
pants,
Okay. Got you.
but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
chest is open.
Yeah. Got
So I
you.
was like, yo, that looks cool as fuck. So I was like, yeah, yeah, let me get that.
Yeah.
Bought that, and we had manslaughter. He
Okay.
was an airbrush dude. He used to airbrush everybody's gear in the doghouse. We had manslaughter airbrush us some stuff. All money's legal on it, and that's where we came up with the gear,
Got you.
with the all money on one leg, AMIL on the other leg. So
Got
that's
you.
where the look came from.
Nice. No, and
Yeah,
definitely
just
again that
searching around.
it's insane to think again how the wheels could just start turning like that. That's you know what, we're gonna make this work. Like, but it needs to work our
Hmm.
way instead of just eh, like that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, man. Because I see so many guys like even now. It's like if I could look at your gear and tell what you bring to the table, that's good.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the gear has to match the gimmick, the personality. Like it'll be like me wearing trunks now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
huh?
like so so from there, because again, you already said you weren't too fond of the name, even though again, like I said, how I found years ago getting to see you was through that. But we then
Yeah.
start switching it up. We start seeing a little more that I feel like I guess you would say you started to resonate more with the character and what you were
Yeah.
grown into was with when the team started going in the direction here with
The house
the
party.
house party. So
Yeah, man.
how do we get here? How do we make that jump into this has been almost I could say the bread and butter. We started
Yeah.
seeing a different side of what you were bringing to the squared circle there.
Yeah, this came after our first tour of Japan.
Okay.
Cause when we went to Japan, they changed our names. Like that's where I got the name Buffa. I didn't just
Okay.
come up with that. That was given to me by the owner of Zero One at the time. He gave me the name Buffa. So I hated that name too. I'm just like, oh, what is this? You know what I mean? And he also changed my theme song too to Part Time Lover, Stevie Wonder.
And
But
did you
it was
like
for a
that at
reason.
least?
No, hell no. I mean, I love the All Money Is Legal name now. I grew to love it, and I grew to love Part Time Lover Stevie
Okay.
Wonder.
Now
But the
now I must
reason,
apologize for because I kept promoting it using that song because I'm like, yo, that's
no,
catchy.
no,
That
no, no,
works.
nah, that's good. That's good. I love it now. I love it now. And the reason why he chose that song is because people in Japan love that song.
Okay, got you.
So he wanted to get me as over as possible.
Got you.
So when we would come out to the ring, we got the part-time lover. He would always tell us when you get in the ring, take the mic and do the Ayo to every side and get the crowd to do it with you. Now these are Japanese people. A majority of them don't speak English.
Yeah,
So to get all these people who speak different languages to fucking chant Ayo, that was like
that's it. That's how you knew something.
so
It
yeah,
clicked. It was like,
his vision was there. I didn't understand it at the time, but
yeah,
when I first came out to Part Time Lover in Corrigan Hall, that place was just like I
that's
was like, oh shit. I was
that's
like,
something
huh,
to say
what?
right there. Like, to be
Yeah,
able to do that at Corrigan Hall and to
that was
have
my
that,
that
like,
was my debut match in Japan, Corrigan Hall. Then I say maybe a month later, I wrestled in Sumo Hall on live pay per view at the anniversary show in front of like 11,000. That's all like my first month in Japan.
wow.
So yeah, it
It was
was man.
talk
Had
about
some
again a
had some
first.
quick starts, man,
Yeah,
in
talk about
wrestling.
but the insanity of it being that though, like these opportunities that have come and just those jumps,
Yeah,
but then a lot of it being like not really a fan of it at first, but then it you saw the vision,
yeah,
you
man.
saw what made it work.
Mhm.
Because like I said, like how I found out about you years ago was that it was like to think like
Yeah.
yo, all money is legal. Like when I talk about tag teams, like it was you guys, it was the SAT, it
Mhm.
was the Hit
Oh
Squad,
yeah.
like, and I'm like,
Oh man,
there you go.
that's when it
So
was good, man.
yeah,
I call it the golden era of
it
indie
it is.
wrestling.
It is like I wish we were still doing because me and Theo Mack we used to do a
Yeah.
podcast called The Glory Days where we talk about that era.
Ah,
Like we had like the
nice.
logo was legit. Hold on, I still got the logo here. It was
Yeah.
based off the old JAP logo. So
Oh, yeah, that's dope.
like yeah, like we legit. One of these days we got to bring it back. We definitely gonna have another sit down like this because the
Yeah.
stories I can imagine you two would share are man.
Whew. Yo, I got
But
yeah, yeah.
I'll talk to Theo Mac. We gotta talk to Theo Mac about that. But
Yeah,
no,
I gotta
just
I gotta
hearing
ask
that.
him if he remembers some of these stories. Is one
But
is one particular. Hey man, if he remembers, and I'm sure he will, we'll save it for them
there you go.
because
We'll
that was
save it
pretty
for that.
funny.
That'll be the return episode of Glory Days. But
Yeah.
no, but like I said, like that era though, it truly is that golden era of wrestling that
Oh yeah.
created to me, I feel like it really based off what we see now. Like even
Oh
again, like
yeah.
the style you guys had, you see it a
Yeah.
lot in guys today. Like there's one
Ooh,
guy, which we're gonna talk about later when we talk about your return to
yeah.
VPW, that you see that influence. And a good friend of
Mm,
mine, my bro, Desmond Cole, and he
yeah.
calls himself the Big Boofer. And like, it's
The
funny
big
because I
boofer's right here, playboy.
like
Let's
I
call
threw
him
this out.
little boofer. You don't call him little boofer. I refuse to call him the big boofer when the big boofer's right here.
There you go. I threw this out a while back. I'm like, hey, the stars align on that one. Or John definitely was listening when I put that out there. But to see just again that influence, to see where you guys have gone from there,
Yeah,
it's insane to see just that growth. But now let's find this. How do we now get where you're comfortable with Buffa Ayo? Where do we finally get that stage of the game where you're like, you know what? I feel like this is now me. This isn't, no one's telling me to be this. No one is making
yeah.
me be a certain way. This is now who I am as a whole.
Oh man, I had to sit back and look at my past and see how far I've come with the name Boofa, with the part-time love as my theme song, and I'm like, man, this has taken me all over the world. And whenever people speak about me, they always talk about like the theme song, my style, my look. And I'm like, yo, man, when I became Boofa, that's when I became a pro wrestler. That's when I really started making money off of pro wrestling. That, that was it. It was my job because I'm in Japan. I'm under a work visa. I can't take no side jobs because I'm always on the road, wrestling damn near every day sometimes. I'm in the dojos training on days off. So I'm like, I could come back to the States, do a little run there, and go back to being, K Pusher, Coolie K. But I'm like, nah, man. Nah. People know me as Boofer. Yeah, people in the States know me as K Pusher, Coolie K, but that's the past. Like a lot of people, when I post up old like clips, they get more views than the clips that I post up like recent from me and all these different countries wrestling. I'm like, I get it, but it's like, don't look at what I did in the past. Look at everything I've done now
Yeah.
in the present. That should be getting more attention than the old stuff. I get
Yeah.
the old stuff, but like, yo, you see everything I'm doing now? It's the reason why I'm doing this. Like,
Yeah. No, and
come
I feel
on,
like
man.
it's crazy because it's one of those like just to think this is all you've already accomplished that still gets that it
Yeah.
resonates. It still sits with people.
Hmm.
And it's like, but you're still doing it now. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
I need to talk to you because like
It.
when I'm seeing just you're wrestling over here, you're wrestling over there,
Hmm.
like you're a world traveler now. It's not just,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, this guy was here, this guy's here, did a
Hmm.
tour. It's like, no, it's not just tour anymore. Now it's
Nah,
this is
man.
the life here. So
I'm going to these countries and I'm living in them. Like,
yeah. So
I ain't trying to
when
do
did
no
that
one tour
decision?
here, there.
Yeah, when did that decision come about though? Because there's one thing like, you know what? Yeah, I could do a tour of Japan,
Yeah.
do the few weeks there, come back, and
Hmm.
then do it again if asked. When did that finally become a
Yeah.
thing of, you know what? I love being over here, I love being over there. I'm gonna start just living in these countries.
Hey, man, contracts.
Oh, hey, I got there you go. There you go.
Hey,
It
man,
worked out.
when they offer you a deal that's gonna keep you there for a certain amount of time, what are you gonna do? You're gonna say, nah, cause I don't understand the language. Uh, I'm gonna get homesick. Nah, the hell with that. Is this your passion? Is this your craft? Like, what you wanna do? You wanna stay in the States doing the same thing you've been doing the past few years? You're not gonna progress. You're not gonna take a chance. Like sometimes you need to throw caution to the wind. That's what I did. I made the decision to go to Japan, and that was always my goal. Every goal I set, I accomplished it from like day one. Anybody that knows me since I got in the business will tell you that. That's why a lot of people aren't surprised with how far I've gone because I've always said it. I always wanted Japan to be the first country I went to. I always wanted to go to Japan and train, not just go there and wrestle and say, "Oh, I wrestled in Japan." Nah, I wanted to go there and go through the young boy system. I wanted to eventually get put on shows, do the tours. I didn't have to go through the young boy system like that, but I still went there and I still trained. I still had to learn the Japanese style, the different footworks and techniques. So I'm the one that's putting myself through that. And this is 10 years into the business. I have no ego because I know it's gonna be tough, but I ain't gonna quit. I know that for sure. And I know I'm gonna come back 10 times the wrestler I was before I went in. And that's exactly what happened. And I earned their respect. And I got the opportunity to stay there and get put on the roster, given a work visa. You know what I mean? I became a freaking heavyweight champ there. I got so many opportunities to wrestle in other countries because of 0-1. And because I threw caution to the wind and said, nah, this is my dream, this is my goal, I'm gonna make it happen. I've seen so many that got the opportunity and they just like shit the bed, talk all this shit. Oh, I'm going to Japan. Go there, can't even survive one day, can't even get through the warm ups, and running back home. But once they get home, they want to talk about, oh, I was in Japan or this. Man, get up out of here, bro. I know the deal. I was there.
No, and that's
You
and
know?
that's the thing, to be able to have that, be able to be like, you know what? Nah, that's truly showing that respect for the craft of it. Being like, no, I am passionate about this. This isn't just
Yeah,
this is not a hobby. This is the life. This is that 9 to 5. This is what we're doing to make a
yeah,
living. So now again, being in this, deciding, you know what, this is how we're gonna do it. How was
yeah.
that getting accustomed to the new lifestyle though? How was that journey of making it feel like, you know what, this is really gonna be home. Let's make it home for me. How was that transition for you?
Man, when I first got to Japan, I'm more hype. I'm thinking I'm gonna be living in the dojo. I get to the dojo first, and I'm looking around like this. Where's the beds? Like, where the hell? It's in like this office building. Like, yo, what the hell? So one of the guys, one of the young boys come and he's like, oh, we're staying at a house 15 minutes away. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? I'm like, I wasn't expecting that. We get to the house, yo, it's like 10 dudes there, all sleeping on the floor. You got like five dudes on the first level and like five dudes up in the attic. And it's tight, man. I'm like, yo, what the? At this point, I'm like, yo, I'm just like shocked. I'm like, yo, what the? I wasn't expecting this. I think we gonna have beds and shit, bunk beds. I'm like, what? I'm up in the attic. These dude is like, ah, find a spot. I go up in the attic. It was a gutted out freaking closet with a like a mat on the floor with a blanket and a pillow. I'm like, ah, I guess this is life. I gotta accept it. Can't turn around now. Can't run. Just gotta get through it. And it was like military school, man. Next day up at like 7 a.m. Gotta go jog around Roppongi because I lived in Tokyo. So I gotta go jog around Roppongi Hills. It's a few miles. Come back. Got about an hour to get like breakfast or just chill out. Then you gotta be at the dojo. I'm like, oh man, and this is all the next day. And
I can
it was the
imagine.
same thing every other day.
I can imagine just that start. That it's like, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. But
Yo,
then, and again, so for moments like that, I can only imagine it shows how worth it was though, to go
oh
through that,
man.
to learn from that, to now see where you are now. It's those grinding just to be able to get to the stage you are now.
Oh yeah, man. I knew I knew it was gonna be tough, but
Yeah.
you don't know until you're like in the deep end to know how you really gonna react and take to things. Cause I would try to do as much research on like Japan as far as like dojo life. I would read up on it from this one's book, that one's book, watch this one shoot interview, try to get as much knowledge as I can to prepare myself for it. But I'm like, yo, you still got to do the work. You could read this, you could watch that, but until you in it, you don't know how you're gonna react. But I took to it, man. I was ready because, like I said, that was my goal. That was my goal. Get to Japan, go through the freaking young boy dojo system, and build myself up, build my name. And I'm glad I got through it, man, because it was tough. Many people didn't. Many
I can
didn't.
imagine again. You hear the just the again the strictness of it, what it creates. But again, it
Hmm.
shows why you said you finally became the wrestler going through
Yeah,
something like that. That's where you get not just the, well, I was doing it one way, I was doing this, I was doing that, but it's like this is where just that whole, it encompassed everything. This gave
yeah, man.
another level of respect to what you already
Hmm.
had that love for.
Yeah, that's it. The respect came from Japan. I had to learn how to be on time. If you guys know, my brother and I built a reputation of being late to shows. They used to call us all money is late. But I'll
That I
say
feel like
this.
I've heard from Theo Mac before.
Oh, of course. But I'll say this though. Most of the time we were double booked because we used to try to be double booked as much as possible, and it wasn't just for the money, it's for the opportunities.
Of course, so
Why wouldn't you want to wrestle twice a day? You know? That became a thing, like being over here in Asia, that became a lifestyle for me. Like when I was living in Macau, I used to wrestle literally every day. I used to do tours where I was wrestling twice a day, every single day for weeks, like legit. So I done been through it, man. Like that's kind of how I started, man. Like at the
yeah,
Dog House when LIWF wasn't running shows on Saturdays, I would go there on Fridays, do a little show. Like guys would like rent the ring. They would do their own little indie show. I
yep,
would go on Friday, wrestle. Saturday mornings wrestle. Saturday nights I would do the LIWF shows. Sunday morning I'll be back doing some other like little wrestling show.
yeah.
Then the weekdays I'll be back at training. So I was like at the doghouse sometimes every single day,
So it's
wrestling
already,
and training.
you
It's
had
already
something
a
already there. That mentality was
yeah.
already that hunger
But
for it.
this is the thing. I was doing that because I was training myself for the indies.
Mm,
I was like, I gotta learn how to be able to wrestle multiple times a week. Cause
gotcha.
like I said, I would be reading the magazines and stuff like that. And I would be going to like different wrestlers' websites and I would see how much they're working throughout the indies, how many days. I'm like, yo, this is the lifestyle I want. I want to be on the road wrestling every day. So I'm like, okay, this guy has a show at the Doghouse on Friday. Let me come down and do that. I was just, building up the
Gotcha.
tolerance.
Yeah, but I can now I have to ask because I can imagine doing double shots, especially in the
Yeah.
tri-state, is going to be a lot easier than trying to do it all the way in Asia. Because I can assume it's not
Oh,
a, hey, yeah, let me just drive a few miles and I'm
nah,
there. Like,
yeah, that's not normal. I'll say that it's not normal. If it's twice a day, it's in the same location.
oh, okay, okay. So I was gonna say, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would
I did.
hope it's like not like, hey, yeah, you're gonna be here and then try to go all across to get
Yeah,
somewhere
nah,
else over
nah.
there. Okay.
If it is two different locations, it's not too far apart.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say because
Yeah,
I can
nah.
imagine it's not gonna be like here. That's like, oh yeah, you might be able to make it. You just
Yeah,
gotta be like,
you
hope you're
might.
first here, and then
Yeah,
second
main
half
event
on somewhere
somewhere
else.
else.
Yeah,
Yo, for
But
real, man.
no, but again,
Yeah,
that to me it just shows like how even then that just that thought process, where you were going
yeah.
with this, where you were preparing for,
Hmm.
it just shows how that work ethic has
Yeah,
grown into what it is now. So, but then
yeah,
let's
man.
talk about that though. Now, again, Japan was the goal, but being able to then go to other parts of Asia, to other
Yeah.
countries, how did that start to become a thing as well?
Oh, that became a thing through 01.
Okay,
They would send us out to like these other wrestling companies within Asia that they
okay.
had working relationships with. So I think the first country outside of Japan that I went to was South Korea.
Ooh, okay,
Went to South Korea, then went to Nepal, then Myanmar. That was through 01.
gotcha.
So it was like the working relationship 01 had with these other companies.
Okay, that works. Again, it's
So
something that
yeah,
it really that shows just how that's set up for again the length of what this career has kept going. Like that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, man. That was cool, man. That was an experience, man. That right there, it was a good one. I'll say that. But at first, I was like, "What?" Because we had got there. It was New Year's Day in Nepal.
Okay,
So we on the bus. We got the little, like tour bus, and the bus can't even get through the block because it's like
of just
filled with
how
people.
yeah
Yeah. So we're thinking everybody is hyped to see us.
we're
He's
like
like,
yo this
oh,
the stars are here we're over that's
yeah.
it. It's like oh no it's New Year's like
Yo, yo, for real, man. You get
like
off the bus. Now you got to think Nepal is New Year's. A bus pull up and you see all these different dudes, like these foreigners all
no
jacked up. All their attention is gonna go on them. They done forgot about New Year's. We get off the bus, they're like, oh, we can't even get to the hotel because everybody is grabbing us. They're going nuts. But that was cool, man. Like it's like the people in Nepal is so cool. The food is great. They're so knowledgeable. Man, I was like, yo, it's a cool ass vibe there, man. But
I can
high,
imagine.
but being a high altitude is crazy, man. Like my hands were so swollen, I couldn't make a fist just walking around. I'm like, yo, what the? It's
I,
wild. And terrestrial out there,
I was
woo,
gonna say wait if you can't make a that's a that would
yeah,
probably
man.
be
You're just your
difficult to be able to
body's,
wrestle.
yeah. But after like a day, your
You
body
start to
gets
get
accustomed
accustomed.
to it.
Okay, yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say yeah.
So,
I would hope
but
at
at
least that
first,
that
I'm
would be
like,
true.
yeah, I was tripping at first because they just took us out, walk around, do a little sightseeing, and I'm like, I'm trying to make a fist to, grip my water bottle. And I'm like, yo, what the? My hand is just swollen as hell. I already have big ass hands as it
Yeah.
is. So imagine these motherfuckers swelling up. Like, I'm
So you're
like,
like,
yo,
I
what the
just
fuck?
got here. You say like, wait, am I
Yeah.
dying? Like, what's happening? What is
Look like
going
a
on?
damn baseball mitt. I'm like, yo, you try to fucking make a fucking fist with a baseball mitt? It's like impossible. Get a
Uh,
nice freaking stiff one, and it's like, bro, it's like
uh,
using the freaking hand grippers, like trying to make a fist out there is nuts, bro.
got you. No, again, that sounds insane with the experiences. But now
Yeah,
we go into this though. Hold up. Let me first shout out to Conrad in the chat. Everything pro wrestling. What's going on? What's going
yeah.
on? Hey, there we go. We got the good brother Smiley in the chat. Good evening, Smiley.
Oh,
What's going
what
on,
up,
man? What's
Smile?
going on? So we go to that, then we go to the different countries, the different experiences.
Yeah.
For you, what has been that favorite so far that you've been able to make your way and make your impact there?
I would say probably Europe.
Ooh, okay.
That was a recent one. That was what, not last year, the year before. I went to Europe for the first time, and that was always a goal as well because I used to always hear about the camp shows.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, the camp shows, the All Star Wrestling.
Oh,
Like
okay, yeah.
all the greats did they camp shows,
Gotcha. Here we go. We got
and I'm
Mike
like,
Law in the
yo,
chat. Ayo,
oh,
Buffa.
what up, Law?
There
What
you
up,
go.
Papa?
There you go. This is where everyone's starting to come in. This is what we love to see.
Yeah, let's go.
But no, that does definitely, again, to be able to do that again,
Yeah,
another
man.
just huge destination when it comes to wrestling as well.
hmm
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Europe is cool, man. Got to wrestle in Sweden.
Oh, okay.
Got to do got to do a few camp shows. It wasn't technically at the camps. It was at different like vacation resorts. They call it holiday resorts out there. So it's like different buildings every day, and you're wrestling like pretty much every day.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I got to do that. That was cool. Wrestled in Scotland. Scotland is dope. I actually lived there for like 6 months. Like about I was planning on living there for 6 months, but
Okay.
I think I stayed for about 4 months. Yeah, I was
Okay.
living out there. Shout out to my boy Chris, Luke King Sharp, LKS Dojo. I was doing some coaching there as well
Ooh, okay. So
for
definitely
the
taking
LKS
full
Dojo.
full
Yeah,
advantage of the
just
whole opportunity there and just
like I
encompassing it all.
said, giving back,
There
giving
you go.
back, man.
There you go.
Just giving
That
back.
that
So
proves it right
that
there.
was
That
cool.
shows it all. Just being
Yeah,
able to do
yeah,
something
man.
like that in that moment.
hmm
But here we go. We got Smiley saying the camp shows are a huge goal for me and that Canadian Death
Yeah.
Tour. That I've heard a lot about.
Yo,
Those
that's what I
Canadian
want
Death
to
Tours.
do.
Oof.
That's what I want to do next is the not the Death Tour, but you know, not those particular tours, but I want to do the Canada tours as well.
Gotcha. Because I've
Yeah,
heard I've
yeah,
heard some craziness about the Canadian Death Tour. That yeah, that
yeah, man. That's wild. That's wild.
well
That's
then we'll see.
wild.
Maybe
I don't know.
again with what you've done before, maybe it's just that's that
It'll
last
make
just
hey,
that's
it'll make sense. But that's on the list.
no.
That's next up. You know, that's
There
next
you go.
up is
There we go. We
Canada
got
the
Vince
tours.
Vince Steele in the chat. What's going on,
Oh,
bro?
what
What's
up,
going on?
Vince?
There you go. There you go. But now,
Big Vince.
so we get that. We get the tours. We get what you've gotten to
Yeah,
accomplish so far. And now again, throughout the years, coming back home though, coming back to the
yeah.
States, coming back to NYC. How does that feel for you being able to do this in the new year here?
Oh man, feels great, man. Especially now,
Yeah.
seeing all the love I'm getting.
Yeah.
The love that wasn't really there. The last maybe 2 or 3 times I came back for a cup of coffee. You know, it's much better now. You know, I feel the love a lot more now, and it's genuine. But previously, you know, it wasn't so good.
Gotcha.
That's that's why I got the hell out of Dodge. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, yo, there's a reason why I left the States. Because
Yeah.
at the time that I went to Japan for the first time, that was 2011. So the
Okay.
business was changing. A lot of companies was closing down. Money wasn't good anymore. You know, opportunities weren't there. So that's one of the reasons why I was like, yo, I ain't coming back home until I do my business. I don't care. Then when I came back home, things got a little better. Then that's when we switched to the house party.
Okay.
You know, different experience now. We got to learn what it's like to actually be pro wrestlers, actually work for a wrestling company, you know. So we was like, yo, let's change up the look. It's about time, you know. We became PG. Let's drop the murder. Let's drop the pushing. Let's switch it up. We're at a house party. Now the original plan was to get the high top fades and all that,
That
but
no,
we're like we on the indies. We ain't getting paid much to maintain that look.
no.
So we was like, let's save that for if we get an opportunity at one of the majors, then we'll take that step. You know what
Yeah,
I
there
mean?
you go. Because when that
So it's like,
contract, that's a whole different story. That's like,
yeah, man, you got to
yeah,
maintain that. Like, nah,
gotcha,
bro. Like, let's just change the name, change the look. So that's where we came up with the whole old school vibe
gotcha.
because we're 80s babies, you know, and nobody had anything going like that. You had Crime Time over here. So we was like, nah, we already getting compared to Crime Time every single freaking day. Like, let's get away from that because we was here before Crime Time. So motherfuckers is like, oh, you ever remind me of Crime Time? Like, no, Crime Time reminds you of us.
Yeah. No, again, especially
Like,
if again, if you know your
what the
history, you start
what?
looking, it's like,
Yeah,
uh,
like, come on, man. Like,
like I look at now, like I said, with a lot of the things that we see, the influence that you guys left is definitely there. You look at guys, like I
yeah.
said, with Desmond, with guys like even my
Hmm.
boys, Private Party. I can imagine you look
Oh
at how
yeah,
they
hell yeah, yeah.
that influence is
I
there.
speak to Mark every day, man. That's the homie.
Yeah,
That's the
that's the
homie.
bro right there. Shout out to Quinn,
Yeah,
always
yeah,
killing this
hell yeah.
thing. Finally, glad to see him back in the ring as well.
Oh yeah,
But
man.
so it's look at that. Here we go. We
Hmm.
got Smiley with All Money's Legal, still one of the greatest teams ever, and someone I pitched to the new kids getting in to check it out. Definitely,
Oh,
definitely.
thank you,
There you
brother.
go.
Thank you.
Definitely. Again,
Appreciate that,
that's
man.
something I did. Like when I was again coming up in it, I was like watching you guys, watching just
Hmm.
that era. That was what made me
Yeah.
just fall in love with wrestling even more. So
It
I'm
was so
glad to be able
good,
to have
man.
this convo with you here. But now let's start
Yeah,
talking about
man.
that. You're coming back to NYC. You get to make your way back to New York.
Hmm.
Let's talk about this. The
Oh
first
man.
match, because Remarkable, it jumped on it. We got it with Remarkable Megan
Oh, okay.
as we have it's you versus Leo Sparrow. One
Yes,
again, that
sir.
newer generation. He has problems though with some people because he's a vegan. He likes the leaves. He likes all this. He likes the yeah. So I don't know if he's too
That's
fan
all
of the
good.
party lifestyle.
Yeah, probably not, but hey, that could all change. That can all change. I'm gonna make him dance, so
There you go.
he's
Let's
gonna have
see.
to do a little. He's gonna have to do a little partying. You know what I mean? Whether he likes it or not,
There you go.
it's
That's
gonna
good.
be a little partying going down for sure.
There you go. That will be at Remarkable. But then a week later, it is going to be your official
Okay.
return to a place you know very well.
Yes,
It
sir.
is going to be
Home sweet home.
VPW. Victory Pro Wrestling presents the return of the King of New York tournament. And you are officially one of the entrants in said tournament here.
Hmm.
Talk to us about that. How does that feel to make your way back? Especially, again, you're no stranger to gold at VPW. So making
Oh
your way
yeah.
you're back there. How does that feel?
That feels great, man. VPW is home. I would say that's where it wasn't where the house party was created. The first place I got to give this place a shout out to NECW, New England Championship Wrestling. Sheldon Goldberg, he gave us a huge opportunity. At that time, that was like one of the only places we was working. I say like after Japan, we shot back up to New England, which is actually where we first got our run on the Indies was like the New England area, like Connecticut, and man, we was all up there like everywhere. So I got to give a shout out to them. But the other company that was holding us down was VPW, and that's really where the house party exploded right there. VPW, man, that's home, man.
There you go.
That's home. I gotta put respect on the name.
Got you.
They
No,
gave
I
us a
love to
huge
see it.
opportunity, man.
That's
That
awesome.
that VPW was like the only place we was working for a little bit,
Got you.
you know. And it's not just because they was booking us; it's because we loved it there, man. The crowd was awesome. The guys awesome. The guys and girls, everybody's cool, man.
No,
It's a
no, and
nice,
again,
nice little family.
I will say again to see what VPW has become now. It has that again. It's different faces, but it's that familiar
Yeah.
feel though. Like the crowd is
Oh yeah.
definitely. It's always a great night there. Again to be a part of what it is now.
Hmm.
When I saw this, I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Because when I when I
Yeah,
when I
man.
started getting around VPW, I knew the generation, seeing what you guys were doing, the likes of the Jorge Santis, what you guys
Oh
were
yeah.
doing then. It's like, okay, cool. But then now,
Hmm.
I know that day, unfortunately, because you're in the tournament, you might have to face one of two of my friends or coworkers, I should say, because I'm a member of King Industries at VPW. So you might have to face
Oh.
either a good friend of mine, my brother Anthony Gangone, or even the boss
Okay.
Adam Kane. So that might be a, again, depending on how the tournament bracket works,
Yeah.
that might be something that
Yeah.
happens on February 17th there.
It's possible.
It
It's
is
possible,
possible.
but
Again,
we'll see.
we'll see what
We'll
happens.
see.
But there we go. We got the good brother Coltrane in the chat. There we go. My
Oh,
brother
Coach
Buffa,
Rain, what up,
peace.
bruh?
There you go. What's up, Coltrane? What's going on, bro? But yeah, definitely we shall see what happens there. But then again, one of
Oh,
the other events will be SPO. Shout out to Johnny Cashmere
oh yeah.
and the great things they're creating there, as it will be you versus Lucky 13. And
Oh,
this is going to be interesting here because they're calling it the retro showcase, just because again,
yeah.
between both of you, just the tenure you guys have, just the, especially
Hmm.
what SPO is trying to create there, you just see the history, especially when it comes to the independent circuit and what this
Yeah,
what
man.
a an event like this brings to the table.
Looking forward to that for sure because of the history between me and Johnny Cashmere, history between me and Lucky. We go way back. At the time, PWU, we just two young kids trying to make a name for themselves, is doing the most craziest thing we could to get noticed. So we have a good history, man. So it's gonna be great catching up with him and locking it up again because we wrestled a few times in the past at PWU and it's always been solid. So it's
Gotcha.
gonna be no different now, man. It's just he's gonna be unlucky 13 on the 18th. So
There you go. So
yeah, no,
again, guys, for all those events, make sure you're getting your tickets now. As going to be Remarkable's heart-shaped box for February 10th. VPW presents the King of New York on February 17th. Go check out VPWProWrestling.com for your tickets today. Front row is unfortunately already gone, but again, any good seat in the house, and then SPO with their return of the boss battles. But from there, before we start wrapping this up too, because I don't want to take up
cool.
too much more of your time, brother. This
Nah,
is
it's
always a
all good,
pleasure.
bro.
I want to talk about this because there's another alliance you've been a part of now. I want to talk a little
Oh,
bit about Gaijin Muscle and the Global Boys. What this has been and just how this all came together.
oh,
Look at that,
started
rocking the
in
merch right there
Japan.
too. Look at that, rocking the
Started in
merch right there.
Japan. Yes. 2011.
Oof,
I
okay,
was, what was it, the second tour of Japan. We do a big tag team tournament. And that's where my brother and I met Dylan James, the other half of Gaijin Muscle. And ever since we met him, man, like we just clicked because Dylan was trained by the Dudley Boys at the Team 3D Dojo in Orlando, Florida. So he's no stranger to the States. So we have that connection there. And ever since then, man, like we just been tight. That's my brother.
gotcha.
Like when my brother, like, you know, stopped wrestling, it was like we've been holding each other down since then. Like people don't realize how tight we are. And it's funny because the crazy thing is people always try to split us up
Gotcha.
over some backstage political BS. But that's my brother. Like, I don't understand why people try to do the things they do. It's like, oh, this isn't some like bullshit work friendship.
Yeah, it's like no, it's a genuine.
Yeah,
It's wrestling.
like
Unfortunately, has those
we
sides.
live
It's like
together. Like
yeah,
we live together. His son is my nephew. His son calls me uncle. Like I know his wife. Like vice versa. Like we know each other's family.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't get it, bro.
No, it's the unfortunate side. As much as wrestling has its good, there's always going to be those that try to ruin it and try to just do some things that, again, unless
Yeah,
you're
man.
around it, you don't unfortunately see, and it's not as much
Yeah.
spoken out about. But it is good to see again that pairing, again to see again,
Hmm.
because I can imagine that love for tag team wrestling is always going to be
Yeah.
there. Like as much
Oh
as again
yeah.
you're
You.
killing it on your own too. that love for that tag team
Hey
wrestling is always going to
man,
be there. So
if I could go back to tag team wrestling full time, I would go for it, man. But you know, I guess it's not in the cards right now.
there you go. Hey, but again, you're
So
doing
I'm
your
just,
own thing.
yeah,
That's still killing it too. You're still there's
yeah,
that
yeah,
need
yeah.
for
I'm
Buffa.
enjoying.
Hey yo,
I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it.
got you.
Like I love tag team wrestling. I'm a tag team specialist. It's always going to be my number one. But I love singles wrestling too. I've grown to love it because I was at a time I was like, I don't want to be in this four way. I don't want to be in this three way. I don't want to be teaming up with anybody that's not my brother.
No,
Which was a situation I was getting put into once my brother stopped wrestling,
of course,
and
yeah.
that's why I'm like I'm bouncing back to Japan full time because these dudes are booking me in the most ridiculous matches. I'm like, I'm good. I'm out of here. That's why I was
Got you. No, again,
gone with the wind.
hey, and
Yeah.
again, it worked out doing that betting on yourself. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go somewhere that it's not home. It's not somewhere that the
Hmm.
security is there, but it'll work to be able to. Again, it paid off. We get to have these moments. We get to have just what Bufa Ayo has become and what
Yeah.
it's continuing to become as the career goes by. So that's amazing to
Oh
see.
yeah.
It shows though for
Yeah,
anyone
man.
watching this and that watches this after the fact as well. Is again what that respect for the craft does, and just again sometimes betting on yourself and taking that risk,
Have
especially
to, man.
when it comes to a
Have
goal
to.
like that.
Yeah, you have to be realistic too, man. You have to be like, you need to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, like, all or nothing. Do I really want this? Because it's not going to be easy. When it going gets tough, am I just going to like quit? When it gets too hard, am I going to leave the kitchen? You got to be real with yourself, man. Like, a lot of guys aren't. They just pitting on for the gram. It's like, bro, forget all that, bro. Forget
Uh,
all that. That
that's
shit don't
definitely
mean
true.
nothing.
That's definitely true. And I hope again, so anyone
Yeah,
that watches as well, those are some gems. This whole episode has been gems here. So for everyone that watches after the fact as well, listen to the man because definitely it made sure to from the guys that wasn't too fond of what he was doing to now seeing
man.
it worked out in the end, and it continues to work as it continues to go. But Buffa, before I let you go,
Yes.
brother, I have to ask the final question. I ask everyone that comes on, and that is now
Okay.
for you. What is the end goal?
Well, the end goal is, and I'll say this without giving everything away. The end goal is to have my own pro wrestling company and
Okay.
dojo,
Okay.
um, which I already technically have because I have my business license here in China. So that's why you see it internationally known.
Got you.
That's
Got you.
my legit license company
Ooh. Okay.
business. So the steps are being made now. So the end goal is to run shows internationally, of course, and provide a way for a bridge, more to say, for guys from back home in the States to be able to travel over to, let's say, China, Hong Kong, wherever they want. I got the connections in Europe as well. I'm so connected everywhere. I just want everyone to be able to have an alternative to going to the big leagues, you know.
Got you. I
Do
like
like
that.
I did. Like don't put everything on wanting to be a TV star. Cause you're gonna cut corners. A lot of people cut corners to get there, and when they get there, don't work out. They just like, "Mm." It's like, nah, it's more to pro wrestling and life than just your home country. You know,
There
the
you go.
opportunity
Again,
is there, man. Like you just gotta want it. Like I said, be real with yourself. What do you want?
nah, I love that.
Give it
And
a shot.
again,
You know.
this man is living proof again from finding himself, finding through the days of again something like this. It could have just been the safe bet of staying. So now
Wow.
we see again the star right here that continues to shine bright, and it's just getting started too. That's the insanity
Oh
of
yeah.
it all. We're just getting started
Oh
with it. But
yeah.
I know I asked the last question, but I gotta ask it because the
Yeah.
year's young.
Let's go.
Is
It's
there
all
anyone
good,
else
man.
on that horizon there for again BUFFA AYYOO? Is there anyone else that you're looking at that's like, I've been watching, I need to get in the ring with when it comes to stateside or even anywhere in the world? You don't have to give us the
Man.
whole list, but at least a few
Nah.
names
I
that we
don't.
can.
Hey, I'm not the guy that does a list.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't come looking for me to give out any list. I give,
there you
I'll give you a blank paper,
go.
bro.
There we go. We've mentioned his name a few times, but there we go. We got the inner city king in the chat, Jorge Santi, which that might
Hey,
be the match that needs to happen.
that's my brother as well, man.
So there
And
you go.
we actually wrestled each other.
Oh,
It's on the YouTube.
oh no,
It's
it's
on the
definitely there.
Tubi.
But I feel like in
But we need to do it
2024,
again.
yeah,
Yes,
in
yes.
2024, that needs to happen.
It's got to happen again for sure, man. That's you want to talk about a list? Okay, I'll make a list. Santi's on
There you go.
it.
That's,
Don't
but
come looking for a list over here, bro. You ain't gonna get one.
no, definitely not. But
I just
again,
want to wrestle I want to wrestle my boys, bro. Like,
I, there you go. That's the best way to put it. That
uh,
answers my question there. Just that right there answers the question.
cause I know he's not gonna bitch about my forearms, which a lot of people do. Oh, you hit too hard. Like, bro, I was trained in Japan by Otani, Tanaka,
There
freaking
you go.
Kohei. Like, you know these people, you know their style.
There you
It's
go.
real strong style. That's how I was trained. So come on, bro. I ain't coming in half-ass. Get your ass ready.
There you
I'm a
go.
grown man. You a wrestler, right? This ain't ballet, bro. How many times do you hear that? This ain't ballet.
There you go. And look at that. Santi says it there. I'm ready, bro. Come back to the state. Well, like we just talked about, he's gonna be here in February for a little bit. We might need to see it happen. So
It'll happen.
we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. But again, brother, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you,
us
bro.
here. I'm glad we're finally able to make this happen. I'm definitely glad we're finally
Yes.
be able to see each other again in person when it comes to
Oh
that
yeah,
BPW
man.
show. But thank you
Yeah.
again. And to everyone watching, as always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft, and we'll see you guys